Okay. Hello, guys, and welcome to Indiana Sports Connection. So, the Pacers game last night, I had to make a video about this. It was unbelievable. Not only is it unbelievable, but I mean, I kept thinking during that game, there's no way they're going to do this again. And then they did it again. I mean, this team pulls a rabbit out of its hat. This is the third time this has happened. We're going to talk about all that and more on this episode. Like, losses like this, they are demoralizing to the opponent. And, the first game of a series like this is the easiest game to steal, but we're going to talk about the Knicks. What happened to them late? Did they settle? Did they choke? It's a little bit of both. It takes two to tango. But first, hit that subscribe button down below. Welcome to Indiana Sports Connection. I do have, so somebody just won the t-shirt on the channel. I have a new thing I'm giving away on the channel. These are made by somebody in Woodburn, Indiana. They're homemade Indiana Hoosiers posters. And so subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and I will be giving away some sets of these and some individual ones of these to different people. And it helps help out a local business here right in Woodburn, Indiana. But thank you so much for everyone for being here. It's like 87% of the people that watch my channel are not subscribed to the channel. So thank you so much for you hit that subscribe button. It's totally free, and you'll get alerts if you hit the bell notification when I go live. I'm just going to share briefly, like, my life has been a little bit flipped upside down. I started a new business called Grassmasters, and then also my babysitter took a crap on me completely. So I have just been dealing with that for about the last 3 weeks, mowing grass all the time. So thanks for hanging in there. You probably noticed Indiana season, Hoosier season is wound down. They pretty much like have their roster set. So that's why I've been only making about a video once a week. But there will be more. There will be more coming. But we're going to talk about this game last night. It was an unbelievable showing by the Pacers. They sit there and we're going to talk about all the aspects of what it really takes to come back in a game like this, because it takes two to tango. I mean, it doesn't take one team to just choke. I mean, you think about all the biggest choke jobs in history. I mean, it took Matt Ryan to take a sack against the Patriots for that to all happen. I mean, was that a choke job? Yes, it was. But it takes the other team gives you the opportunity by not doing the right thing. And that is what the Knicks did in this game. So what happened to the Knicks late? I mean, I just rewatched some of it. I mean, to be honest with you, there was a second there where I dozed off watching the game for a second, and I'm like, I wake back up. Neesmith had hit like 4 threes, and they were like right on the comeback with about 3 minutes left. And I had to rewind and then watch all of it, because the Knicks definitely started to settle, and they don't have as many scorers on their team. They don't have a Neesmith that's going to like come out of nowhere. Josh Hart might be that guy for them, but he was not that guy for them in this game yesterday. Their go-to guy, I mean, it was practically Brunson scored 44. Karl Anthony Towns scored a lot of points. Anunoby, I think, and he ended up with 16. But overall, the Pacers played more players. They played the style of play they wanted to play. I believe it was the Knicks, the most points they had ever scored in the first half in that game. And so, yeah, it was just everything really was going the Pacers' way in the game. Foul wise, Brunson got all those fouls. Then he goes out of the game. Then the Pacers go ahead go get behind by 10. They go on a 10-1 run when Brunson goes out. So you're thinking right there, all right, like, this is it for the Pacers. They're probably not going to be able to do this again. And then the next thing you know, Neesmith catches fire, hits 5 threes in a row. This dude and this guy has been working on his 3-point shooting. He's a legit 3-point shooter. The Knicks started sloughing off on defense, and the ones he hit, he was wide open. And then you got to talk about the shot that Halliburton hit at the end. That was unreal. The way that hit off of the back iron, went way up in the air. And if you do notice, I have my black Colts shirt on. I know it's a tale of two things of happiness and unhappiness today, because Jim Irsay dying, the great owner of the Colts, who brought a championship in 2006 with Peyton Manning, was instrumental in a lot of that stuff. But we're not going to talk about that. we're going to stick to the Pacers, but I do realize it's a sad day for the Colts to see Jim Irsay go out like that. I know he'd had a lot of health problems. But let's talk about, I do have a story. Like, I used to play a lot of ping pong, and ping pong games go one of two ways. Like, I would always get either way ahead of people, and this is probably typical of most people, but I got to a point where I'd play a lot of games and I'd get really far behind early on. It would always be 11-2, and I would be messing around. And then once you really find your stride in a ping pong game and you start that comeback, and if you're a person that plays a lot of ping pong, you know this. It's like once you get locked in and you're coming back, the other person is trying to stop it in every way possible. And when you get way ahead of the game, you have the tendency to lay back. It's just in your human nature. You're just going to lay off a little bit. And that's when the Pacers pounced in this game. They got behind. There were times when I rewatched it. It's like Towns taking a three. Yes, he got fouled. The Pacers bailed him out a few times where he got fouled. The Knicks also got bailed out where Siakam missed some layups. Obi Toppin missed a layup, but it didn't matter. The Pacers kept coming, and they were focused. They were focused on defense throughout this game. But more so, it took a little bit from both sides. The Knicks firing up some three-pointers that gave the Pacers some opportunities. Brunson had some really tough drives late in the game, and he even had a really tough drive late in the overtime, but it ended up being not enough. These guys were gassed. They were tired. When I went back and rewatched the game, they showed these guys going over to the bench, even at the end of regulation. OG Anunoby is not a dude. Although he is one of my beloved Hoosier players, he is not a guy with that big body that is just going to be able to run up and down the court. And the Pacers play a ton more players. They gave a stat when they were coming out. It's like on the Knicks have 4 players that average 43 minutes or more in the games. It's something like that. And for the Pacers, their starters average 34 minutes or less. They don't have any players that average more than 34 minutes. So just like Charles Barkley said, Neesmith, he was fresh as a daisy come the end of that game, and he's able to get it done and hit those shots. And he played defense on Brunson most of the game. So a really great standout performance from him. But it also gives you, like, if you're the Knicks, where's it going to come from next from the Pacers? I mean, this is a demoralizing loss for the Knicks. Make no bones about it. They were up in this game. This is the type of game, even if you're a professional athlete, you're a person that you know they're going to come out and they're going to take it to Indiana, really want to take it to them in game 2. But it's like, this will always be in the back of your mind for the rest of the series. Even going into game 6 or game 7, if it goes that far, I don't think it's going to go that far. I think this is going to be a sweep, or it's going to be a 5-game series, because it just takes one of these demoralizing losses. And the Pacers did it to the Bucks the same way. They did it to the Cavaliers the same way. And I think both of those teams were better teams than the Knicks are. Deeper teams that I think had a better chance of beating the Pacers. And the Pacers had a good rivalry with the Bucks. But when you're ahead, when a team is ahead by like 7 or 8 points, they miss free throws down the stretch. Anunoby goes to the line, hits only one. Karl Anthony Towns goes to the line, only hits one. Your legs are gone deep in the game. You played too many minutes, and you're just gassed at the end of the game, and you're trying to throw up 3-pointers. I thought it couldn't be more of a telltale sign that Jalen Brunson, he throws up that air ball at the end of the game, and that was it. That was just the fatigue had set in at that point. There were a few things that I really wanted to point out. Jalen Brunson, like, before the game was over with, before the overtime started, there's about 30 seconds left on the clock. They had a guy going to the line to shoot free throws, and he was like giving a guy a hug over on the side. It reminded me of Arnold Palmer. If you know the great story of Arnold Palmer being on, it was like on the 18th hole. He was ahead by 2 coming into the 18th hole at the Masters, and he went over to the side, and he like shook hands with a guy that was congratulating him and all this stuff. The game wasn't over yet. It was not over yet. That is how you lose your concentration. Sharon, thanks for showing up. You know, I have had some requests to make videos about the Pacers, and I've not made them. So I figured I would make one today. It was like most opportune time to do it. It's rainy, it's cold. I'll be mowing later, but Jalen Brunson going over there and giving that guy a hug before the game was over, huge mistake. The fat lady had not sung. The hay was not in the barn, as Kent Sterling said, and that's a great Indiana reference. But it's like, man, you cannot do that against his Pacer team, especially against a Pacer team. Tom Thibodeau, after the game, he said all the right things, but sometimes it's just your human nature and it's the fatigue that sets in. And that's really what happened to the Knicks. Um, yeah, Brunson and OG Anunoby, they look spent at the end of the game. And the Knicks were taking some long threes, and it all started going the Pacers' way at the end. And even the foul trouble on Brunson, that's going to be him and Anthony Towns. Those guys cannot get into foul trouble. They had some stupid fouls in the game. Brunson had 7 turnovers. He's really going to have to try to clean that up. That's not a good rate for him with the amount that he has the ball in his hands. And I mean, I think the Pacers I think it's either going to be a sweep or in 5 in this series. It's tough. I mean, it was so great to rub it in all of those New York fans' faces. And most people know I used to work at an Irish pub right by Madison Square Garden. So I used to talk to tons of Knicks fans. It was just, and when I lived there, I always, in 2000, like 13, 14, I was not like opposed to the Knicks. They got in the playoffs a couple times with, um, when Carmelo Anthony was there, but they were never a threat to Indiana. So I'd never really had reason to dislike them. But you know, it's back. I mean, the rivalry between the Knicks and the Pacers, it's back on full force. You could tell by just all the celebrities being there. It's the Hicks versus the Knicks. Oh, we're just a bunch of corn-fed morons. But you know what? The one thing we do know how to do is play basketball. We know good basketball when we see it. And it's going to be, I don't think it's really going to be that interesting of a series. I think this Pacers team is like a team of destiny right now. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be Pacers taking this series, and that's all there's going to be to it. It's going to be the first time they've been in the NBA Finals since what? Like if they get there since 2000 when they matched up against the Lakers, and that was late in when that was kind of until 2004 was Reggie Miller. But, the Pacers had good teams in 2012, 13, 14. They really built a team there. I thought when Oladipo came in, they were going to build a team with him, but it didn't end. It ended up being a guy that you really had not heard of. I was watching the game where Reggie Miller scored 25 points in the fourth quarter yesterday. And I was just thinking about what a unique player Reggie Miller was. And Tyrese Halliburton, very much the same way. I mean, his shooting style, the way he brings the ball up and turns his wrist. I mean, he's kind of got an unorthodox playing style and shooting style. I'm glad he gave the choke symbol afterwards because it was warranted. I mean, they did choke. It would have been nicer if he would have made that as a 3-pointer, but his foot was on the line. And, they kind of were making a big deal about it. Oh, he did it before it didn't matter. That he was just very lucky that the Pacers ended up pulling that game out in the end. But it ends up being a great, great night for the Pacers. And I said it in my short before the game. It's bad juju to be throwing trash on a fireman, that's a Pacers fan. The Knicks fans should be ashamed of themselves for doing that. That got a lot of recognition from Pat McAfee this week. So to me, it all comes full circle. It all comes full circle for this. Let's take a look at this shot chart here because it ended up being very, very even up in a lot of the different categories. Knicks had 15 turnovers to the Pacers 7 turnovers. Pacers play at such a rapid pace to only have 7 turnovers was amazing in that game. There were times I was really barking like Obi Toppin, tried to go too hard on that jam and hit it off the back iron. There were a couple of mistakes by the Pacers, but overall, they keep coming at you and they keep their composure and they make you play a 48-minute game. And in this case, they made you play even more minutes than that. But I don't know. I just have a great feeling about the Pacers going, and OKC is the team that I think is going to be playing against the Pacers. I think it'll be they're really probably not wanting this because it's going to be two small market teams, but OKC is a really tough team, and the way the Pacers move the ball around. I'm not trying to count my chickens before they hatch, but after that demoralizing loss by the Knicks, I think it's just going to be a tough road to hoe for them going forward in any type of way. And yeah, and that's all I have for you. Um, yeah, is I saw it wasn't a total choke job by the Knicks, but look, they left the door open. They don't lose that game on a couple of those threes. I thought if OG Anunoby takes the ball, drove into the basket when it was more like a 5 or 7 point game, put more pressure on the Pacers, and all they really needed was to make a few shots down the stretch there. Even if Anunoby makes both of those free throws, it's game over. They got 126. A lot of things have to go right for your team to win in the manner that the Pacers do. So it's not a total choke job by them, but it's just like it takes two to tango. You got this happening. They're missing free throws. They're taking some unwarranted 3-point shots at times. And then you got the Pacers that are just, they keep chiseling away at that door over and over and over again. And finally, they break through in the end of that. And I just the shot, how it went in. I mean, I just went wild when that shot went in by Halliburton. Thought it was a 3-pointer at first, although I was like, man, he was really playing it scattered there, trying to get back to the 3-point line. But that goes down, and it's just a fantastic day to be a Pacers fan. Sad day to be a Colts fan. But thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. Until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.